Just like that, 45 regular season games are done. Um, Last one being India versus Netherlands. If India were in a bad position, this result of this game would have been helpful for them to help their net run rate. Maybe that was the thought behind it. Um, Not to get into controversies early on in the show, but yeah, I mean, 45 games later, the morning after started, what, third game of this regular season, I think. No, actually, might have been a little less, a little after that. But yeah, constantly, as always, with my guy, Rocky Mohawk. Where should we begin? I think we can just go through, I guess, kind of season, I mean, group stage reviews for both India and Netherlands as a whole while we go through the game.
Basically,
And
reflecting back on how the
yeah,
overall tournament was within the
tournaments.
context of this last game.
Yeah, essentially. I guess one of the things that we can definitely start off with is surprised India didn't make any changes for today's game and decided to still play their best 11. We know we saw in the Australia and Bangladesh game, Australia decided to rest two of their main starting 11 players just to give them some rest before the playoff stage. Any surprises there for you?
Not too surprised in a sense that as of now there are no injury concerns. So I
Yeah,
think India, I mean, they've already lost Hardik Pandya, unfortunately. So I think the mindset behind this was get everyone as much game time as possible before the big game.
yeah,
There's no point bringing someone like Ashwin when you know that when you're 80% sure that Ashwin will have a great game, and then you can't play him in Mumbai anyway. So what's the point? You might
yeah.
as well play the 11 you're likely to play in Mumbai.
So Siraj got a ball to his throat while trying to take a catch. You think they were hoping that they would have picked Prasidh Krishna instead, just to give him some game time and save Siraj ahead of him because he was brought into the squad as the replacement. And my idea was, I think they were trying to probably rotate around the big three and rest them a little, maybe towards the end of the World Cup, but that just didn't seem to happen.
See, the thing is, that is one change. That is the only change, perhaps. Krishna in place of either Siraj or Bumrah would have been a change. Even Shami, for that matter, would have been a
Yeah,
change. I think a lot of us would have liked to see, just to give the
yeah.
young pacer some bit of game
One
time.
game. Yeah,
His
yeah.
first World Cup, he had to suddenly come in, give him game time in a game that basically doesn't matter at all. It wouldn't have
Consolation.
hurt, but I think that whole mindset was give all your 11 guys who are going to play against what's that, New Zealand in
Yeah,
Mumbai as much game
yeah,
time as possible.
yeah. So, I guess one of the things that we've talked about quite extensively is India's new style of batting, especially their run rate, average run rate in the first 10 overs used to be around 4.87 prior to the World Cup or prior to 2023 even. In 2023, it's 6.83. Um, Today, they batted at almost 10 and over in the first 10 overs. Is that an indication of how their batting has been this whole World Cup and how confident their openers have been in their own form and their approach, no matter the opposition?
I think they both realized, and overall, it looks like every Indian batter realized that their natural game suits them this way.
Yeah,
They can
yeah,
all play the defensive role if and when required. That's the best part about this team. They're not
yeah,
sloggers. They're not, they're not those batters whom we call naturally aggressive, who don't really have a defensive gear to their game. These are not
right,
batters like that. All of them, almost,
yeah,
no, I don't want to say almost. Apart from Surya Kumar Yadav, all of them have had multiple good test knocks as well as
yeah,
T20I knocks, runs in
yeah,
the IPL, everything going for them. And all of them are practically, not all of them, but again, most of them are practically ODI legends by this point.
yeah,
So there isn't much of a doubt in terms of the tempo that they go about their innings. I think that's what they kept in mind, that okay, no, we are not going to go into a shell. We're not going to overthink things. We're not going to be like, okay, first 10 overs we defend and then we can start attacking slowly. We don't have to do that. We're one of the few teams that has the luxury to start attacking and utilizing the power play. In
Yeah.
ODIs, not a lot of teams have the luxury to think that, okay, no, this is the batting power play. We're going to utilize it. A lot of
And a
teams
lot
don't.
of teams just depend on their middle order batters mostly, right? And their openers are kind of those pinch hitter or, guys you send out there to kind of slog it out at the start.
I
But
mean, that's a
India is not
literal
like that.
situation we've seen with Netherlands.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, with India playing the way they are, I don't think anyone's surprised. As you said, they weren't. This isn't something they were doing, not for a while now, but no one's really surprised with an ICC tournament, good batting pitches,
yeah,
batters of the caliber of Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul. They're always going to come into their own, and this is it. This is the best that we're seeing from them.
yeah. I mean, what they got 410 on the board in their 50 overs. Um, a lot of the aggression was not mindless shots. What you can say is like they paced themselves really well in terms of how they wanted to go about it. Shubman Gill looked set for 100 until he picked out deep backward square leg. You think he'd be disappointed not getting that extra 100 at the World Cup till now in group stage?
A little, I guess. I mean, it almost looked like he was playing against a team of schoolboys, and that's not,
Yeah,
downplaying the Dutch bowlers, but rather
yeah,
that's just how comfortable he looked out there. It's a shot
yeah,
he kept playing again and again to the onside, particularly
yeah.
between the deep backward square leg and mid wicket boundary,
Maybe, yeah.
and
He just keep
eventually he
picking
got
it up
caught
off
at
his
one point.
legs. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
At
yeah,
one point, he just got caught, which is unfortunate. But again, if you're not slowing down, if you're just playing because playing because you're timing it well, you're just hitting it ball after ball, you're
yeah.
eventually going to get holed out. But I guess the message from the team management, from the dugout, was play however long you want to, keep playing your shots, see
Yeah.
how it goes.
See
There's
how
no
it
point
turns
getting
out.
set, getting 100. I think that's what the message was, I would say.
Yeah. I think the thing is, not to undermine the lens or anything, in a dead rubber for at least India, Netherlands still had a lot to play for. If they did get an upset, they would be Champions Trophy bound in 2025. Um, I think the way Shreyas Iyer came in at number four, he's played a big role there at number four this year. We've talked about his weakness against the short ball. He said that it's not a weakness. He doesn't think that it's a weakness. How do you think he's countered that a little more towards the end of the World Cup? He seemed to have countered it a little, but teams have also seemed to not utilize that short ball against him as much, um, which does cause a question in your mind as to why they're not planning for those weaknesses.
I think a lot of bowlers are not too sure about their pace, if
Yeah,
with their pace they can intimidate Iyer or not. And the
yeah,
one advantage that Shreyas Iyer has gotten is the fact that India haven't faced too many strong opponents coming into the last half of the tournament other than South
yes,
Africa. So that's
yeah,
something which has definitely worked in his favor. And that's
yeah.
not something to take away from the success that he's had. But rather there haven't been pitches and there haven't been too many bowlers who could intimidate him enough with the short ball. When we say
Uh-huh.
someone like Shreyas Iyer has a short ball problem, it's a short ball problem against quality pace
Quality pace.
when they're
Yeah, not
ramping
just
up
with
that
anyone.
145 plus pace.
Yeah,
He's not going to be intimidated by a 130 odd half tracker. That's just not going to trouble him at
no,
all.
no,
He has the
no.
shots for that. And with
Yeah.
Bangalore, of course, having very, very short boundaries, it doesn't really help. Bowlers are naturally intimidated by the fact that even a top edge could very easily go for six. And
Yeah.
as a bowler that, regardless of how much the discussion goes about the team coming first, no bowler wants their figures to turn bad.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to get hit for 100 runs in the 10 overs, right? Netherlands have had two of those. Logan Van Beek joined Basti later. Um, Shreyas Iyer got a red ink today. he would feel good about that going into the semis, especially because, like you mentioned, he will come up against a bit more pace and bounce and bowlers rushing him, especially with guys like Lockie Ferguson if he does play, and if Kyle Jamieson also plays, that's two guys that he will need to counter. KL Rahul just goes strength to strength at the World Cup. Didn't get the red ink that he would have wanted, unfortunately. But he looked quite good and in a good touch too, and then came out and kept the whole innings pretty much unscathed. Batting at
Reading
five,
doesn't
keeping
matter when
wickets. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Reading doesn't matter as much when you get one of India's fastest World Cup
Fastest. Yeah,
centuries
yeah.
to your name. So that's
Four
always a good achievement.
sixes, four sixes, 11 fours, 68 balls, 64 balls, 102. Thoughts on his mindless. No, I'm joking. It's not mindless. This guy just hit every shot of the middle of the bat.
I have to remember that Bangalore Chinnaswamy is his home ground.
Yeah,
Not for the IPL, but for the fact that he is from Karnataka. He's played a lot of cricket on that ground across
yeah,
formats at
yeah.
every level. So it's understandable that he's going to have a lot of advantage batting there against a bowling attack that looked derailed by that point just because of how the batters were attacking them all throughout the innings, how they really
Yeah.
didn't have a chance from ball one. And that's what India's aggressive starts do. They take away the fire out of this new
Out
ball
of
attack of
this.
every
Yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah.
And this is going to be a huge mental test for New Zealand in the semi-final
Especially
that's coming up.
a lot will depend on how Trent Bolt comes along. He hasn't been that effective at the World Cup yet this year. He's pretty much had very good World Cups in 2015 and 2019. Just hasn't clicked on, and you can attribute some of that to him opting out of his contract and not playing as much one day cricket. Hometown boy of Bangalore, uh, looked a little scratchy for his 50. Uh, he got a couple of half chances that could have ended his innings early. Especially I think there was one to Shreyas Ahmed, which dropped maybe a yard or two away from him. Um, he's not one for to have any crowd pressure. He feeds off crowd pressure. You just think it's just one of those knocks. Maybe he just didn't come off as well as he would have wanted.
Well, people of Bangalore are very happy that you called him the homeboy, but I can already imagine what sort of swears are coming from Delhi.
Delhi, yeah, yeah,
He is
yeah.
their
I
homeboy
mean,
after
he's
all.
been with that franchise for so long, even though they're yet to
But
win a
but Dilli ka
trophy.
munda
But
is Dilli ka munda, right?
Delhi ka
You
Munda,
can't
yeah,
really take
yeah,
that away from them. I know,
yeah,
but all jokes aside, yes, he did look a little scratchy. There were also talks of his strike rate, which again I don't get it. Like,
yeah.
not everyone's going to go faster than run a ball in ODIs. If you really want that,
No,
go watch T20
and then
cricket.
he's
Come on,
like
man.
what at 96, I think, right? So the one he
I mean,
got out to was
have
was
we gotten too desensitized by this as Bangladesh fans? I don't know. Am I missing something here?
I
Like,
think I
this is
think
supposed to be
when you
slow somehow.
when you keep seeing 75s and 76 strike rates, this is what happens to you. Anything under 100, you just expect everything as 100, and then anything under 100, you just go, nah, that's slow. You're not scoring fast enough.
No, but all that aside, yeah, it wasn't his best innings. But again, got runs on the
Got a
board, got
50.
runs at a
Yeah.
fairly crucial time. Because you got to remember, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, they both did get out pretty close to
Back to
each other in
back.
the sense that
Yeah,
it was 100 for one and then 129 for two. Had Virat Kohli not stuck around, not formed that partnership with Shreyas Iyer, India
could have.
could have been in a spot of bother.
Yeah.
Trust me, we Bangladesh fans know we were way more worried for once.
And India's lower order hasn't been tested as much like as we've talked about throughout the World Cup. I think only the New Zealand game where New Zealand pushed them to like 6 or 7 down, which is probably the deepest they've batted till now, right? Uh, Bumrah, Shami, Siraj have not batted yet this World Cup, have they?
I don't remember
I don't think so.
them batting.
Must be nice.
Shami
Come
didn't
bowl
look
your
the best
10,
when he came
put
out to
your
bat at
feet up.
number 8 multiple
Yeah,
times. But
yeah,
again, if they don't really, the whole discussion for us was they will need Thakur or Ashwin to bat. But again, if the tailenders are not batting, you might as well
batting.
go with
Yeah,
better bowling
yeah,
options.
yeah, exactly. So, New Zealand, Netherlands bowling. Sorry, not New Zealand. Netherlands bowling. Um, they seem to come up with plans for every guy, but today I guess it's just more of an experience thing. These Indian batters are so experienced; they've played on these conditions for so long across tournaments and across whole bilateral series. Is just experience triumphed them more than anything. I personally don't think they bowled as well as bad as the scorecard suggests. They did have some filth in there, 100%, but I think for majority of it, they actually did bowl good lines. It's just the batters were in extreme supreme touch right now at the moment, so it just went over them.
No, for sure. It's not easy. I mean, the piece of paper that we talk about, the piece of paper, it doesn't cover everything, really.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
it's
when you're
just
playing against a team like India. It really doesn't,
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately. And that's where they fell short. And yeah, I mean, we've spoken that some of the bowling has been disappointing, especially the fact that they don't really have a plan at all
yeah,
for death
yeah,
bowling. But it's
yeah.
a team that'll only learn. It's a team that'll only grow from here. The unfortunate thing is because they miss out on the Champions Trophy, there is no
Yeah,
guarantee when they will play their next ODI ICC tournament. The
which is the
2027
tough
World Cup is
part.
likely to have more teams, but we don't know if Netherlands will still qualify. So we don't know.
Hmm.
And with the Super League now gone, we don't know how much ODI they'll be playing during this time. And if they
Hmm.
don't play against teams of this caliber all that much,
Yeah.
then they're not going to improve. That is going to be the
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah. And that's the thing with associate teams or even Afghanistan. The success that they've had at the World Cup, for them to retain that for a longer period of time. Um, and besides the success, Netherlands had two of their games for the first time get broadcasted on live TV at home in Netherlands. The last two group games that they've played, and so that would have brought in a lot of new fans, a lot of new interest towards the game. And for them to retain that, people have to be able to visit Rotterdam or VRV Stadium or whatever it is at home to watch some games. Or, even if they have away series, it's something that they have to be able to follow consistently. Or else, if the team's not playing anywhere, they're not going to be seeing these guys again for about 12, 16 months or whenever they turn up to West Indies for the World T20 World Cup. So that's not really ideal. Royal of Vandermarwe, probably their post bowler today, just to finish off with their bowling. Logan Van Beek, unfortunately, looked really good throughout the World Cup as a bowler. Unfortunately, went for almost more than 10 and over. I think 10.5, went for 105. Basteleda overtook his dad as Netherlands. And why do I keep saying New Zealand? Because a lot of the players can go to New Zealand. That's what happens. But Netherlands' highest wicket taker in World Cups. Dad did it in 2013 with 14 World Cup wickets. Um, 2003. Sorry, what did I say? 2013. Did I say 2013? Okay.
Yeah, you said there was no World Cup in
Yeah,
2013. Just want to
there was a
clarify.
Champions Trophy, whatever. Yeah, so Dad did it in 2003. He broke that with 16. Just a couple of thoughts on Roloff and I guess Bastileda, the bowler, not the batsman.
The old dog Roloff, he's gonna. This is what he's gonna do. Like if you
Yeah,
keep playing him for another 5 10 years, this is the exact type of performance he's gonna keep churning out.
yeah,
He's not, and I don't say this in a demeaning way. He's not the type of player who could probably win you a game single handedly. That's
yeah,
not been his brand of cricket, but he's
yeah,
someone who will show up day in and day out and do what you need him to do. Get a wicket or two here and there, contain the runs,
yeah,
disciplined line and length, very pace just enough to
hmm,
trouble the batters.
yeah,
Vary the line and length again, just enough to trouble the batters. He's some again. he will perform with the bat whenever required. He's someone, like I said, he will turn up day in and day out, however
Yeah.
many times you need him to. South Africa's
Even if it's
loss,
with a
Nether,
dislocated fingers. So,
even if it is,
yeah.
absolutely.
No,
A-
I guess,
As the
yeah.
lady, just
Yeah.
to add to that, when you come into the tournament as an all-rounder that has helped the team
Get
get
here.
to this World Cup
Yeah.
miraculously, almost, I would say,
Yeah.
you want to perform either with bat or ball, and he has done at least one of those
Yeah.
perfectly well.
Yeah.
Sure, he could have gone for fewer runs, but again, the bowling responsibility. What you have to understand is the bowling responsibility that fell on him. A lot of fans who don't follow Dutch cricket as often could probably get confused, and I understand that. That you know, how is he going for so many runs? That's because
Yeah.
he was never supposed to bowl as many overs as he's bowling.
Always. Yeah.
The kind
Yeah.
of responsibilities that he's having to take, that is not something he would have
It's
to do
just a
on a regular
situational
basis.
thing. Yeah. It's a,
Absolutely.
yeah. No, 100%. And, this is a good segue into Netherlands batting, which is he would have batted number four on a different wicket, on a different condition, on a different World Cup, if it was in a pace friendly kind of a World Cup, right? Um, because Cybrand Engelbrecht comes with so much experience from his SA under 19 days and obviously his ability to play spin, they've had to slot in Cybrand at four. Wesley Baresi told Virat Kohli last time that they faced at the World Cup, will not be seeing a lot of you anymore. He's seen Virat Kohli again 12 years later with 49 ODI hundreds. Unfortunately for Wesley, got out for his fifth bowler from Siraj. Yeah, from
Yeah, from
Siraj.
Siraj.
Yeah. But Max O'Dowd and Colin Ackerman put up a good stand. Impressed by that?
It's good to see them get some runs. Not a half century, unfortunately, but they both
Yeah.
got runs, and both of them were underperforming in this World Cup. Even now, with these scores added, we will still say probably that they have underperformed, but it's still good
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
had those scores behind them. Like,
Against a good bowling lineup,
against a good
still
bowling
stayed
attack, because
positive. Yeah.
it's not the end of their careers. Come on,
No,
Colin
no,
Ackerman
no.
and Max O'Dowd, they're 32 and 29 respectively. They still have a lot of cricket left in them,
Yeah.
and I hope that
100%.
this is just a learning curve for them. This is not them getting morally defeated, just a learning
Yeah.
curve for them to improve their game even further. You get out cheaply to teams like Australia, New Zealand, India. It didn't happen against India today, but it could have happened.
Yeah.
Even
Could
that
have been
for
60 all
you,
out, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
even that for you is an achievement in a way that you can always learn from it. You're
Yeah.
getting out to some really good bowlers versus getting centuries against lower ranked teams is not going to get your game anywhere after a certain point. It
Yeah.
helps the initial days, but after that, it doesn't develop
It does.
your game at all.
Yeah. We know. We know.
A bit too well,
A
unfortunately.
bit too well. Yeah. Cybrand Engelbrecht, he's looked really good with the bat at the World Cup. The two games that they did win, he had a big say with the bat. He got 50s in both of those games. He got a 45 today. Initially struggled a little against Kuldeep, but he dug in and played exceptionally well. Um, Thoughts on him overall as a World Cup after coming back to cricket, maybe after 6 years or 5 years, when he moved from South Africa to Netherlands, didn't play much, and then they kind of asked him to go and score some centuries in domestic cricket, and he said, "All right, I'll do that." Scored four centuries, and took a plane home. I took a plane to the World Cup. So, uh, yeah, thoughts on how his career might pan out after this?
He is actually the same age as Virat Kohli in a sense that they played the Under 19 World Cup together in 2008.
Yeah,
So, a
yeah,
35-year-old, he may not have a lot of cricket left in him, but he's done well. He's done exceptionally well. And here's one thing, it's completely irrelevant here, but I
yeah,
remember, during the GT20, when Corbin Bosch came for one of the press conferences, I asked him, the responsibility that you have. here playing for Vancouver Knights is not, batting at number 3 and then bowling as the first change bowler. It's not a responsibility that you're going to get in South Africa at any level at this point or in any other league in the world. So that's sort of a transition for on all-rounders like Engelbrecht, where they come to teams like Netherlands where they get this responsibility.
Yeah,
That's where South Africa do struggle from time to time, in a sense that
yeah,
since Jack Callis and Lance Klusner, of course, they haven't had as many good
all
opportunities
around.
for the all rounders they have produced. It's not that they haven't
Yes.
produced all rounders,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they haven't
No,
been able
but
to
it's
make as good opportunities for them.
yeah,
Here is a good example of the opportunity you get when you play for a team like Netherlands that wants your experience to
yeah,
come and translate for them at the
yeah,
highest level. That is
yeah.
exactly what he's offering for them, and they're accepting it wholeheartedly, of course.
100%, 100%. I think you've summed that up really well there. If you played for South Africa, or even if you got into the South African team, probably batting six or seven as a finisher, and career pans out extremely differently compared to how it's panned out. And this might even lead to him getting a few gigs at those smaller T20 tournaments, which will only aid his development um, over the 3 or 4 years that he might end up playing international cricket, even if he continues to choose to play till 39, 40, whatever it is. He still looks fit. He was one of the best fielders at that Under 19 World Cup in Malaysia in 2008. So
They made it
he's,
to the finals, and
yeah, yeah.
the
So,
fact that he's not bowling, again, it's not something he wouldn't get into the South African team right now with his bowling, because he can't bowl. He had to remodel his action, and
action, yeah,
it's not an action that he's too confident bowling with. So
yeah,
again, he wouldn't get
100%.
into most of the top sides like he's getting into this Dutch team.
That team, yeah. Tejan Idamaru, before we discuss the big happenings of this bowling innings. Just to finish off with the other notable performance for them, Tejani Damararu got dropped after the Australia game, I think. Came back for these last two games, looked really good in both of them. Thoughts on how this might lead to his career panning out? He's gotten a job with the Netherlands Cricket Board now as a project manager or something like that. So he's made the move over from Auckland. Um, yeah, but look really good on paper and on like the eye test, you could say. Just seeing him back look really good. And, guys in commentary were saying he can hit a long ball, which obviously helps Netherlands going forward.
See, one of the things that I first spotted about him was in the game against England, that how confident and how good he is against spin.
Right. Yeah.
And that is not
Yeah.
a trait a lot of players from associate nations can boast of, because they don't
Hmm.
play spinners of this level, of this caliber, as frequently. So that's
Right.
obviously a very good starting point for him. And as
Yeah.
you said, he can hit the long ball, which pretty much makes way for the T20 leagues. They will be
Yeah.
interested in him. I just
Yeah.
hope that, again, this is why I'm hoping Netherlands do continue to play enough high level ODI cricket, so that alongside the T20Is and the franchise leagues, these players get enough exposure to ODI cricket. We don't want to lose another generation of talented cricketers just to franchise
Just to,
leagues.
yeah, 100%. And um, this is where these teams who don't play as much cricket, Pakistan doesn't have a one day series till November 2024. This is where they can slot in, visit Netherlands for a three-match series. West Indies hasn't played the World Cup, visit Netherlands for a three-match series. You can build it up on yourself that way and really have those contributions from other full member nations and get that volume of cricket in your disposal. And I think England will do well to again go over like they do every summer and hit 500. Uh, but I think the
And the
biggest
thing is,
talking point,
I
yeah,
mean, ICC
yeah,
usually don't provide enough incentive for these boards to play
yeah,
these series. Uh,
absolutely.
the closest incentive we got was the ODI Super League, and now that that's gone, again, they need to
Yeah,
find
the
ways to
scrapping that was
incentivize these
absolutely
matches.
stupid. Yeah, scrapping that was absolutely stupid because uh, s- Scott Edwards did say, we got flamed by every team in the ODI Super League. We only won 3 games, but the experience we gained from those 24 games was massive. And it cannot, like, we cannot explain to you how much that translated to how we performed at the qualifiers. So, obviously, that's out there, but
And just want to add
yeah,
something that now that we are at this, at the end of the group stage, basically, the group stage
yeah,
has concluded, not in,
yeah,
really at the end of it. I really hope we can let go of the. Fortunately, we haven't spoken about how useless ODIs are and whatnot
yeah,
throughout the
yeah,
tournament. We
yeah,
haven't had these statements from the former cricketers anymore. And I
anymore. Yeah,
really
yeah,
hope these things stop. I
yeah.
really, really hope we can use this World Cup as a platform to realize that no, these things need to stop. I know this wasn't the best World Cup. I am sitting here
No,
acknowledging
yeah,
that.
yeah,
2003 was better than this. 2007 was better than this. 1999 was better than this. 2015 was better than this. 2011 was better than this. 2019 was better than this. I am here testifying all of those World Cups were better than this. But it's
yeah,
okay. This was still
yeah.
a World Cup worth watching,
Watching.
and
Yeah,
ODI cricket is still worth watching.
yeah.
Please stop advocating for the end of ODI cricket. We don't need any more soulless franchise cricket leagues. We don't need
No,
that anymore.
nothing, nothing. And honestly, if you're gonna play franchise cricket for 8 months of the year or 9 months of the year, a lot of people will eventually lose purpose because not everyone is playing at these franchise leagues. It's a lot of times it's the same group of players going from here to there to here to there, right? So
It's even
although
hard
it
to keep track. One's playing
track
for Mumbai
exactly
Indians in India, and not playing for Mumbai Indians in New York.
in New York, yeah,
That one has
exactly.
another set of players. It's so hard
Yeah,
to keep track
yeah,
now.
yeah. It's just no good. It's no good. Talking about T20 leagues, two guys who rolled their arm over today got a wicket each. Um the wrong-footed in-swinging menace. He actually releases the ball like this, Virat, like releases it over his figure. And I was waiting for the longest time to see like a speedometer reading come up. No speedometer readings came up while he
They
was
can't catch
bowling.
his speed. It's too
I
quick.
don't think it's yeah, it's just too quick. They can't catch it. And then Rohit also had a spell, but how good was the reactions from across the ground, including his wife when Virat took that wicket?
No, it's a shame. I mean, I could talk a lot more about, how much I miss watching Anushka Sharma on TV because she hasn't been making as many
Me,
movies recently. I
yeah,
understand family duties now come first,
yeah,
but
got a second baby
again,
on the way
as
too.
a fan of Anushka Sharma,
Uh,
it's always good to see. It's always enjoyable because I have to
yeah,
remind myself, no, this is not just Virat Kohli's wife. This is an actress whose work I've enjoyed. So
yeah,
it's always good to see her celebrating the success of Virat Kohli. It's always such a
yeah,
wholesome moment out there.
yeah.
And yeah, I have been enjoying all the reels that they've made out of it.
Yeah,
All of
got
them
the
positive,
background
thankfully.
music's running around. Yeah, yeah,
None of
and
the musics were from her movie, so I mean, kind of a missed opportunity there, but okay, no
and
harm
then
done there.
yeah, to put the icing on the top,
And you got to
Rohit
remember, Rohit
Sharma's got
Sharma
one
has what an IPL hat trick.
hat trick. Yeah,
He
yeah,
he used to
from
bowl
Deccan
quite
Chargers
frequently at
days.
one point.
Yeah, he used to, and that's why they used to bat him at six when he first came into the Indian team because they used to make use of his part timers for a couple of overs here and there. But yeah, I guess Rohit's got one in the bag. Kohli's got one in the bag. Surya Kumar Yadav's got tonked for a few by Teja, and Shubman Gill got one over, maybe two, one over. And I think Rohit said, "All right, that's enough for you. You're not doing anything after that."
I mean, come on. All we needed was Ishan Kishan to come on the field, take the gloves so that KL Rahul can roll his arms
You
over
can,
and
yeah,
bowl one.
yeah.
That's all that was missing.
If Kale started bowling, I think the internet might have lost it completely at that point. Um, I can think we're towards the end of it. I think we've done a thorough review of the game and I guess how that lays into the context of how it's gone for both of the teams.
And
Last
one thing
thing,
we have to
yeah,
mention though, while India celebrated this emphatic victory with Diwali all across
all like,
India,
yeah.
sighs of relief were heard all across Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Bangladeshis were hoping that Netherlands don't spring another surprise.
including the
Like,
national team players who arrived, by the
yeah,
way,
yeah.
arrived home.
So I guess the last thing is India only have five bowling options in, and then you put in the in swinging menace and the off spinner captain. Um, but is that something they might be challenged with? I won't say worried about. Might be challenged with if New Zealand get off to a good start against them. Um, in the semifinals, because we did see their bowlers didn't get much help initially today, and then Kuldeep Yadav came in and he really brought the game back. But then the Pacers struggled in that middle period to get any purchase off the surface.
Unfortunately, it's something they have to make do with. There is no Hardik Pandya, meaning there
No,
is no other all-rounder uh, other than Ravindra Jadeja. So unless you want to bring Ashwin in, bat him at number 7, bat Jadeja at 6, you're obviously not going to do that, right?
into
So there
that,
is no
yeah,
solution. Your only uh, takeaway from this should be that I have 5 bowlers who are
yeah,
all world-class
one,
bowlers.
yeah.
I don't have
How good
other
was
teams have to
Jadeja's
worry about
dismissal of O'Dowd?
other teams
So,
have to worry about having a weak fifth bowler. If your fifth
yeah,
bowler is Ravindra Jadeja, you don't have to think about a sixth
you're in
bowler.
a
I'm
good
sorry. As
position.
long as five
Yeah,
of them are fit, you don't have to
yeah,
think about a sixth bowler. You can that this is the best part. You Rohit as a captain never overcomplicates anything. Anything. That's what makes him such a good ODI player, ODI
yeah,
captain, even a good T20 captain, that he always has this sense of clarity going on
yeah,
in his mind.
100%.
And he knows that even if, let's say, Jasprit Bumrah has a bad game, I am still going to bowl his 10 overs out. What's going to happen? Bumrah on a horrifying day is going to
Yeah,
go for what, 77, let's 75, 77? Or a
yeah,
horrifying day. I can't even imagine
yeah,
Bumrah going for that many runs. But Mumbai, okay, batting friendly wicket. Let's say he goes for runs.
yeah,
Rohit knows that that's Bumrah on a bad day, but I will have Siraj, Shami, Kuldeep, Jadeja to take care of these New Zealand batters.
yeah.
They will ensure that they don't go for 70 plus runs. They don't even go for 60 plus runs. They
No,
will contain
yeah,
the runs. They will pick up the wickets. If I
yeah,
panic and I say, okay, no, Bumrah, you're not going to bowl, I'm going to bowl instead of you, or Virat, you come and cover Bumrah's over.
yeah,
That is when New Zealand are going to realize they have won.
yeah,
They have won the
100%.
mental game
And you
against you.
don't want to give New Zealand that kind of an entry into the game because they will grab it with five hands and they will take it completely.
They can play. Trust me, with New Zealand against India, we have seen in this. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember. Luke Ronke came onto field. That's how many
yes,
injured
that's,
players they had. Luke Ronke was the fielding
yeah,
coach at the time.
fielding
He came
coach.
onto
Yeah,
field. They still won.
yeah, yeah,
This was back in
exactly.
2020, like just after the 2019 World Cup, the
19.
first ODI
Yeah,
series the two sides played. That is the mental effect New Zealand seemed to have on India, or I want to say that this is how New Zealand always managed to mentally one up India.
India. Yeah,
And this is
exactly.
something India would want to desperately work on as soon as possible. And by soon as possible, I mean on the 16th
Right
in
now,
in
right now.
Mumbai.
Yeah. So that's the second semifinal, right? So we got the first semifinal on the 15th coming up. Um, thank you, Rakimo, once again. Good
I think
chat.
it's safe to say we'll be back with a show that uh, goes over sort of a preview for both the semifinals,
Both the
particularly
sem.
the first
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
we
We'll
haven't spoken
definitely
too much
do
about
that.
it yet.
No, no, no. We'll definitely do a preview for that. Leading into it, I think they definitely deserve that. And also, we'll cover the time that we have in the gap. We'll do the question answer video too, so that we get those out of the way. So watch out for those. Might have some of our team members on it too, so add some extra inputs. Thank you for following Bhagiratta in the morning after throughout the World Cup. Got a few more episodes to go in this segment, so appreciate all the support. Keep subscribing, keep liking our content across all social medias. Thank you.